Lisa Thomas.
She, oh yeah, this. It's okay, mine.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out to our traditional production of We Wear the Mask. We are so excited that you're here to join us this afternoon. My name is Sandra Dales. I'm the Executive Director of the Southern Pines Land and Housing Trust, and we are just thrilled to be able to offer events and more opportunities to see this beautiful facility that we have the pleasure of overseeing. What we're trying to do here on our campus is we would love to bring an economic resurgence back to the area of West Southern Pines. We have about 10 buildings on our campus. We have actually a cemetery behind this building. We have some land across the street that we're going to build attainable housing. And on the campus, we plan to, once everything is said and done, we plan to have a daycare facility. We would love to have a community shared kitchen. We are going to have an incubator for small business owners. We're going to have collaborative workspace. We're just going to have whatever, you name it, we're going to have it here on this campus. And we're thrilled. We're so excited to be able to do that. We just had a major fundraiser a couple of weeks ago, and it was a resounding success. Many of you here were there, and we surely appreciate your participation and your support. Continue to watch the newspaper, continue to watch your emails if you're on our email list. Continue to listen to your friends and neighbors about the comings and goings of what we're doing. We really need the support of the entire community to get this project done. We're looking at hopefully opening the campus by the year 2028. We're hoping to have all the buildings open and functioning at that time. So lots to do, but we are here and we are ready for it. Before we get started today, we would like to ask you if you will silence your phones, just to make sure that Mr. Capel has all of your attention and isn't distracted by a really cool and interesting ringtone that we forgot to silence. So thank you so much again. Want to thank Elise Saltieri, our events director, who is who's capable of putting on this show. And she has just been hitting the ground running with so many different things and so many different events that we have going on here. So thank you so much, Elise, for your support. All right, with that said, I want to introduce Mitch Capel as we wear the mask. Thank you.
Poet is a poet because he understands, because he is born with a divine kinship with all things, and he is a poet in direct ratio to his power of sympathy. At the World's Columbian Exposition, 21-year-old Paul Lawrence Dunbar works as a clerk in the Haitian Pavilion. There, he meets one of his idols, Frederick Douglass, who was speaking at the fair. With a life spanning the Civil War, Douglass experienced both slavery and freedom. He became one of the most prominent abolitionists and black writers of his time. As an African-American writer himself, the young Dunbar admired Douglass for his literary contributions. This included the acclaimed autobiography, Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, an American slave. At the World's Fair, Douglass recognizes the young writer and asks Dunbar to read one of his poems, Ode to Ethiopia. For Dunbar, this moment is pivotal. One of the most influential black men in America encourages Dunbar to pursue his writing in the face of institutionalized racism.
Douglass goes to Dunbar, and Dunbar is a kind of intermediate figure that sort of links the sort of slavery past with the sort of more modern world renaissance.
Born in 1872, just 9 years after emancipation, Dunbar entered the first generation of free African Americans. His father, Joshua Dunbar, escaped from Kentucky during the Civil War via the Underground Railroad. He went on to volunteer in the Massachusetts 55th Infantry Regiment, one of the first all-black units to fight in the U.S. Matilda, Paul's mother, was also a slave in Kentucky and moved to Dayton with Joshua after emancipation. She consistently advocated for Paul's education and recognizing his potential for success. The only African American in his high school, Paul graduated at the top of his class. In addition, he was popular among his classmates, one of whom was his good friend Orville Wright. Yet despite his achievement in school, he found his future prospects disappointing compared to white students of similar accomplishment. While hoping to attend law school, Dunbar begrudgingly took work as an elevator attendant in his hometown, the only job offer he could obtain. This disenchantment manifested in his heightened awareness of the struggles African Americans now faced, despite being free. Dunbar's proximity to slavery and his experience of racism became the palette he used to craft poetry. This work eventually led to his literary success. Scholars debate over the extent to which Dunbar's writing enforced or subverted racial stereotypes of African Americans. Central to this debate are Dunbar's dialect pieces, poems written in a vernacular associated with Southern blacks during the time of slavery. Dunbar wrote during the popularity of the plantation tradition. Authors such as Thomas Nelson Page and Joel Chandler Harris romanticized slavery, portraying the plantation as a place of peaceful coexistence between slaves and owners. In relation to this type of racialized writing, Dunbar wrote with a double consciousness. This term, coined by writer and civil rights activist W.E.B. Du Bois, refers to the tension experienced by Black individuals that involves an awareness of their identity as both Black and American. They see themselves through the eyes of the white oppressor while trying to establish their own voice in the U.S. Dunbar attempted to succeed in a literary world dominated by whites while still speaking to this disenfranchised Black audience. At the turn of the 20th century, one particularly influential voice was that of William Dean Howells, known as the Dean of American Letters. Howells was a well-known editor, critic, and publisher who took a particular interest in Dunbar's work. The attention Howells gave Dunbar certainly helped increase Dunbar's readership, yet Howells's praise carried a racist edge to it.
It seems to me now that there is a precious difference between the races which it would be a great pity ever to lose, and that this is best preserved and most charmingly suggested by Mr. Dunbar in those pieces of his where he studies the moods and traits of his race in its own accent of our spoken English. They are not really dialects so much as delightful personal attempts and failures for the written and spoken language.
This attitude exemplified the white supremacy prevalent in the country and in the realm of literature at the time. In the Harlem Renaissance of the 1920s, Dunbar's popularity among Black artists decreased significantly. As Black writers and musicians worked to achieve artistic success, many found dialect poems counterproductive. In 1922, James Weldon Johnson published the Book of American Negro Poetry. In it, Johnson praises Dunbar's standard English poetry as example, but describes his dialect poems as outdated. Modernist Wallace Thurman denoted Dunbar as a minor bard, and Ralph Ellison, a prominent Black intellectual and author of the acclaimed novel Invisible Man, blamed Dunbar for engaging with white stereotypes of African Americans and fueling the circulation of these racist notions. However, in the politically charged era of the Harlem Renaissance, which attempted to promote the success of Black artistry, the complex irony of Dunbar's writing may have been overlooked. It was not until the late 20th century when African American scholars such as Henry Louis Gates defined the technique of signifying. Signifying refers specifically to African American writing that engages with racial stereotypes of Blacks, but uses the language of their oppressors to subvert and reclaim power.
Signifying is really involved sort of irony. It's a way of taking a verbal, just in its simplest form, taking a verbal utterance, borrowing it, reworking it, and reconfiguring its meaning and significance, even as you also seem to be saying what the thing itself originally said. So you could think of it as a kind of revision with a difference. You can also think of it as speaking back, in some very specific instances, sort of speaking back to power, using the language of power, but doing it ironically.
Little dog baby was sparkling now. Come here, Capel. Sound is deep. Well, what you been doing, son? Making sand pies? Look at that baby. Why, you just dirty as me.
popular in the greater African American population. For example, Joanne Braxton, an African American woman and renowned Dunbar scholar, has always considered his poetry a central part of her life. Her parents recited Dunbar's poetry to Braxton throughout her entire childhood. Later, in her career as an educator, she was disappointed to find no satisfactory collection of Dunbar's poetry for her students. So, she decided to anthologize Dunbar's work herself. As a result, she edited the collected poetry of Paul Laurence Dunbar, published in 1993. Dunbar's work leaves behind a complicated legacy, one filled with both controversy and admiration. As contemporary audiences study his poetry, new circumstances will reveal new insights into Dunbar's work, some flattering, others critical. The voices of his readers and critics, both past and present, provide us with a nuanced appreciation of Dunbar's achievements.
It is a little dark still, but there are warnings of the day, and somewhere out of the darkness a bird is singing to the dawn.
Mitch Capel is a nationally acclaimed storyteller, poet, playwright, motivational speaker, and actor. Born and raised in Southern Pines, North Carolina, widely recognized as the leading interpreter of Paul Laurence Dunbar's work, Capel has committed over 70% of the poet's writings to memory. His voice represents Dunbar in film and on kiosks at the Wright Dunbar Interpretive Center in Dayton, Ohio. His celebrated one-man shows, including Dunbar Live, bring Dunbar's legacy to audiences across the nation. For nearly 40 years, Capel has toured nationally and internationally, performing in schools, libraries, and major cultural venues such as the Kennedy Center, Smithsonian Folklife Festival, and National Storytelling Festival. He coined the term stoetry to describe his signature style of rhymed storytelling and created the beloved character Granddaddy Junebug for younger audiences. His honors include the Zora Neale Hurston Award, the highest from the National Association of Black Storytellers, as well as numerous recognitions for his contributions to arts, youth, and community. He is co-founder of the African American Storytellers Retreat and operates the Cardinal Park and Recreation Center in Pine Bluff, North Carolina. Mitchell is the proud husband of Pat Capel, beloved in their community, father of 2 motivational speakers, and grandfather to 2 phenomenal young men. Introducing our speaker tonight, known to many as Granddaddy Junebug, but tonight, our legendary Mitch Capel.
Seen my lady home last night, jump back, honey, jump back. Held her hand and I squeezed it tight. Jump back, honey, jump back. Heard her sigh, a little sigh. Seen the light gleam from her eye, and a smile go flitting by. Jump back, honey, jump back. Heard the wind blow through the pine. Jump back, honey, jump back. Woo! Mockingbird was a singing fine. Jump back, honey, jump back. And my heart was beating so when I reached my lady's door that I couldn't bear to go. Jump back, honey, jump back. So I put my arm around her waist. Jump back, honey, jump back. Woo! Raised her lips and I took a taste. Jump back, honey, jump back. Love me, honey, love me true. Love me much as I love you. And she answered, yes, I do. Jump back, honey, jump back. Ha! Jump back, honey, jump back. Woo! Jump back, honey, jump back. They say he was a clever poet. And folks said he had fine poetical tastes. But his father, a practical farmer, accused him of letting the strength of his arm go to waste. He called on his sweetheart each Saturday evening, a beautiful maiden this man ever faced. And there he confirmed the old man's accusations by letting the strength of his arm go to waste. Confirmation. Dunbar wrote his standard English as well as in dialect, and even in his dialect pieces, he showed the beauty of his African American people. Just like Tolly wants you to, sets your head a-reeling, makes you over good new, that's the way I was feeling. Seemed to me it's summertime, though it's winter really. I was feeling just that prime, and her name is Dealey. This here love's a curious thing. Changes round the seasons, makes you sad or makes you sing, without no earthly reason. Sometimes I goes whooping round, then again I sleeping, spirits always up and down, even when I'm sleeping. For the dreams come to me then, and they keeps me pitching, like the apple dumplings when boiling in the kitchen. Someone sought to do me harm, tried to overcome me, taking Dealey by the arm, so's to take her from me. Man, you best believe our fights, though it's only seeming, I was hitting for my rights, even when I was dreaming. But I let you have them all, give them to you freely, big, bad, great, or small, so as you leave me Dealey. Dealey got them melting eyes, big and black and tender. Dealey just a lady size, delicate and slender. Dealey brown as brown can be, and her hair's curly. Ooh, she looks so sweet to me. Bless the precious girlie. Bleak, Dealey brown as brown can be. She ain't no mulatto. She pure colored. Don't you see? That's just what's the matter. That's the why I love her so. There ain't no mix about her. Soon as you see her face, you know there ain't no chance to doubt her. Some folk go to church and pray so as to get a blessing. They better come my way. They can learn a lesson. Sabbath day I don't go for just to see my pigeon. I just sits and looks at her. That's enough religion. Dealey. One night, in my room, still and beamless, with will and with thought in eclipse, I rested in sleep that was dreamless, when softly there fell on my lips a touch as of lips that were pressing mine own with a message of bliss, a sudden, soft, fleeting caressing, the breath of an angel's first kiss. I woke, and the scoffer may doubt me. I peered in surprise through the gloom, and nothing and none were about me, and I was alone in my room. Perhaps 'twas the wind that caressed me, and touched me with dew-laden breath, or maybe close sleep sweeping there past me, the low-winged angel of death. Some skeptic may try to disdain it, or one fain to read it aright, or wisdom may seek to explain it, this mystical kiss in the night. But rather let fancy thus clear it. While thinking of me here alone, the mouth's word may naught, and in spirit, thy lips, love, were laid on my own. The phantom kiss. Paul Laurence Dunbar dispelled the notion that African American men did not take care or care for their children, even though they were being separated and sold. Brown baby, as you grow up, I want you to drink from the plenty cup. I want you to stand up, tall and proud. I want you to speak up, clear and loud. Brown baby, brown baby, brown baby, as years go by, I want you to go with your head held high. I want you to live by the justice code. I want you to walk down the freedom road. Brown baby. Little brown baby with sparkling eyes, come to your pappy and sit on his knee. What you been doing, son? Making sand pies? Ooh, look at that bill. You's as dirty as me. Look at that mouth. That's molasses, I bet. Let me get something and wipe off his hands. Bees gonna catch him and eat him up yet? Being so sticky and sweet, goodness land. Little brown baby with sparkling eyes, who's daddy's darling and who's daddy's child? Who is it all today never once tries for to be crossed or once loses that smile? Where did you get them teeth? Oh my, you's a scam. And where did that dimple come from in your chin? Your daddy don't know you. I believe you. This here's some old straggler done got in. Let's throw him out the door in the sand. We don't want no stragglers laying around here. Let's give him way to the big booger man. I know he laying around here right now. Booger man, come in the door. Here's a bad boy you can have for to eat. Me and his mama don't want him no more. Swallow him down from his head to his feet. Oh, I thought you'd hug me up close. Go away, old booger, you shan't have this here boy. He ain't no scamp or no straggler, of course. He's Papa's partner and playmate joy. Come to your pallet now. Go to your rest. Wish you could always know ease and clear skies. Wish you could stay just a child on my breast. Little brown baby with sparkling eyes. Now lie away sleeping. Lie away here in my arms while your mom and daddy protect you and keep you safe from harm. Oh, brown baby, it makes me glad that you will have things I have never had. When out of men's hearts all the hate is hurled, you're gonna live in a better world, brown baby. This next poem I'm going to give you was one that was recited in schools before integration. It was part of the curriculum in African American schools throughout the South. Lies, lies, bless the Lord. Don't you know the days are broad? If you don't get up, you scamp, there'll be trouble in this here camp. Think I'm going to let you sleep whilst I make your board and keep. That's a pretty high to do. Don't you hear me, lies, you? Bet if I come across this floor, you won't find no time to snow. Daylight all is set then, why you sleep? Why, it's a sin. Ain't the candle light enough to burn down without a snuff, but you go the morning through burning up the daylight too? Lies? Don't you hear me call? No use turning towards that wall. I can hear that matter squeak. Don't you hear me when I speak? This here clock done struck off 6. Kitty, bring me them sticks. Oh, you're down, son. You're down. Look here, don't you dare to frown. March yourself and wash your face, and don't you splatter all the place. I got something else to do besides just cleaning after you. And take that comb and fix your head. Look just like a feather, baby. Look here, boy. I'll let you see you shan't roll your eyes at me. Come here. Bring me them straps. Boy, I'll whip you between your trap. You done felt yourself too strong, and you surely got me wrong. Now sit down at that table there. Just you whimper if you dare. Every morning on this place seems like I must lose my grace. Now fold your hands and bow your head. Wait until the blessing said, Lord, have mercy on our souls. Don't you dare to touch the rolls. Bless this food we going to eat. You sit still. I see your feet. You just try that trick again. Give us peace and joy. Amen. In the morning. Opportunity. Granny's gone to visit him. Seen her get her shawl when I was a hiding down behind the garden wall. Seen her put her bonnet on. Seen her tie the strings. And I can go to dreaming now about them cakes and things. On the shelf behind the door. Mercy, what a feast. Soon as she get out of sight, I can eat in peace. I've been watching for a week just for this here chance. Lordy, when I get in there, I'll just surely dance. Lemon pie, ginger cake, let me sit and think. Vinegar and sugar too, that'll make a drink. If there's one thing that I love most particularly, it's eating sweet things and drinking sangria. Lordy, won't poor Granny rare when she see the chef? When I think about her face, I almost shame myself. Well, she gone, and here I am, back behind the door. What's this? My Gran done expected me. There ain't no sweets no more. Ever sweet is hid away, job just done up round. Person think, someone thought there was thieves around. Oh, this breaks my heart in two. Oh, how bad I feel. Just to think, my own grandma believed that I could steal. Opportunity. This next little poem is entitled Accountability. And I'm sure he heard a story from his mother or father, or people in the neighborhood in Dayton, Ohio, who were enslaved, about how tough it was to have enough to eat. Accountability. Folks ain't got no right to censor other folks about their habits. Him that get a squirrel the bush tail made the bobtail for the rabbits. Him that made the great big mountains hollowed out the little valleys. Him that made the streets and driveways wasn't ashamed to make the alleys. We is all constructed different. Tain't no two of us the same. We can't help our likes and dislikes. If we bad, we ain't to blame. If we's good, we needn't show off. Case you bet it ain't our doing, we gets into certain channels that we just can't help pursuing. But we all fits into places that no other ones can feel when we does the thing we has to, good, little, big or ill. John can't take the place of Henry. Sue and Sally ain't alike. Bass ain't nothing like a sucker. Chub ain't nothing like a pike. When you think about it, how it's all planned out and splendid, nothing's done or ever happens without it's something that's intended. I don't care what you does, you has to. And it surely beats the dickens. Viney, go put on the skillet. I got one of Master's chickens. Accountability. This next piece, Paul Dunbar dedicated to his mother, Matilda Jane Glass Murphy Dunbar, who was born on a plantation in Lexington, Kentucky, on a glass plantation. She also married a gentleman named Murphy, who escaped and fought in the Civil War and was killed, and then moved to Dayton, Ohio, and met Paul Dunbar's father, Joshua, and married him. Dunbar changed the name of this from Matilda to Melindy to fit the rhythm of the verse. Go away and quit that noise, Miss Lucy. Put that music book away. What's the use to keep on trying? If you practice till your grade, you can't start no notes to flying like the ones that Ransom rings from the kitchen to the big woods when Melinda sings. You ain't got the natural organs for to make the sound come right. You ain't got the turns and twistings for to make it sweet and light. Tell you one thing now, Miss Lucy, and I'm telling you for true, when it comes to real right singing, ain't no easy thing to do. Easy enough for folks to holler, looking at their lines and dots, when there ain't no one can sense it, and the tune comes in spots. But for real, when Lowe's just singing, that just strikes your heart and clings, just you stand and listen with me when Melinda sings. Say, you ain't never heard Melinda? Blessed soul, take up the cross. Look here, ain't you joking, honey? Well, you just don't know what you lost. You ought to hear that woman warbling. Robins, larks, and all them things. Hush their mouth and hides their faces when Melinda sings. Fiddling man, just stop his fiddling. Lay his fiddle on the shelf. Mockingbird, quit trying to whistle, in case it just so shamed himself. Folks are playing on the banjo, drops their fingers on the strings. Bless your soul, forgets the move when Melinda sings. She just spreads her mouth and hollers, come to Jesus, twirl your hair, sinners, trembling steps and voices, timid like a drawing man. Then she turns to Rock of Ages, simply to the hut she clings, and you find your tears dropping when Melinda sings. Who does say that humble praises with the master never counts? Hush your mouth, I hear that music as it rises up and mounts. Floating by the hills and valleys, way above this burial sod as it makes its way in glory to the very gates of God. Oh, it's sweeter than the music of an educated band, and it's dearer than the battle song of triumph in the land. It seems holier than evening when the solemn church bell rings as I sit and calmly listen while Melinda sings. Towser, stop that barking. Hit me, man, to make that child keep still. Don't you hear the echoes calling from the valley to the hill? Let me listen. I can hear through the brush of angels' wings, soft and sweet. When Melinda sings. Do you think I make a soldier? Do you think I make a soldier? Do you think I make a soldier, soldier of love? They was talking in the cabin. They was talking in the hall, but she listened kind of careless, not a thinking about it all. And on Sunday too, she noticed. They was whispering mighty much, standing all along the roadside when they let her out of church. But she didn't think about it till the middle of the week, when her liars come to see her and somehow he couldn't speak. Then she seed all in a minute what he come to see her for. They had listed colored soldiers, and her lives was going too long. Oh, she hugged him and she kissed him and she begged him not to go, but he told her that his conscience, it was calling to him so. And he couldn't bear to linger when he had the chance to fight for the freedom they had given him and the glory of the right. So he kissed her. And he left her when she promised to be true. And they put a knapsack on him and this coat all colored blue. So she gave him Pap's old Bible from the bottom of the drawer when they listed colored soldiers. And her life was going to war. And she thought about the weary miles that he would have to tramp, and she couldn't be contented when they took him to the camp. While her heart now broke with grieving. So when she seen him on the street, then she thought that she could go and throw her body at his feet. For his buttons was shining, and his face was shining too. And he looked so strong and mighty in his coat of soldier blue that she hollered, "Step up, Nanny!" Though her throat was so and raw when they listed colored soldiers, and her life went to war. Oh, Miss cried when Master left her. Young Miss moaned her brother Ned, but she didn't know their feelings was the very words they said when she told them she was sorry. They had done get up they all, and they only seemed more prouder that they meant had hit the call. Both her masters went in gray suits, but she loved that Yankee blue. And she thought that she could sorrow for the losing of them too, but she couldn't. For she didn't know the half of what she saw where they listed colored soldiers, and her lives went to war. Master Jack come back all sickly. He was broke for life, they said, and they left her poor young master somewhere on the roadside, dead. When the women cried and moaned, she could feel it through and through, because she had a loved one fighting in the way of danger, too. Then they told her they had laid him somewhere way down south to rest, with the flag that he had fit for shining there across his chest. Well, she cried, but then she reckoned that's what God had called him for when they listed colored soldiers, and her lives went to war. I'm a soldier in the army of the Lord. I'm a soldier in the army of the Lord. I was hearing people dancing, and I was hearing people singing, and I was been around lots of others that could keep the banjo ringing. But in spite of all the folks I know that lived and died since Ham, the wisdomest I ever seen was old Ike Baked Sam. In the kitchen, in the stable, in the fields of mowing hay. You could hear that man whistling pretty nigh a mile away, pumping up his old features till you couldn't see his eyes, and you hear a song like this one from that awful pucker rise. when we had revival meeting. And the Lord's good grace was flowing on the ground that needed water and where the seeds of good was growing. While the others was a singing and a shouting right and left, you could hear that man a whistling kind of soft beneath his breath. And to call for colored soldiers, Sam enlisted among the rest, with the blue of God's great army wrapped about his swelling chest. And he laughed, ha ha, and whistled louder, in his youthfulness and glee, that the government would let him help to make his people free. Oh, there was lots of ties to bind him, his papa, his mama, and his Dinah. Dinah was his sweetheart, and it wasn't nary finer. But he left them all. I tell you, like a king he marched away, tried his level best to whistle, happy, solemn, choking gave. To the front he bravely went, and fought the foe and kept his spirit. And his comrades said his whistle made them strong when they could hear. When a saber or a musket cut some friends of ours down, and the time had come to trench them, and we all to gather round. And no one could sing a hymn tune, maybe none of us would care. Sam would whistle, "Sleep is Jesus," and we know the master here. In the camp all sad discouraged, he would cheer the hearts of all when above the sound of labor you could hear his whistle call. Who pay me, pay me, pay me my money down. Who? If you don't, you go to jail. Pay me my money down. Who? When the cruel war was over, we all come marching back. There was cries and shouts and blessings all along our happy track. And all our folks was happy. Souls and bodies both was free. It seemed like the Redeemer must have been on earth indeed. Late one evening, we were standing all around our cabin door. And we heard somebody whistling kind of soft and sweet and low. Though we couldn't see the whistler, the hymn was clear and clear. And we all stood there listening until a Dinah shouted, "Sing!" And we seen a little brown man way off yonder through the trees, with his face all in a pucker, making just such down sounds as these. Whistling Sam. Crust of bread and a corner to sleep in. A minute to smile, but an hour to weep in. A pint of joy to a peck of trouble, and never laugh, but the moans come double. And that is life. Crust at a corner that love brings precious, with a smile to warm and the tears to refresh us. And joy seems sweeter when cares come after, and a moan is the finest force for laughter. And that is life. Pray. Paul Ernst Dunbar read in a newspaper article of a lynching that took place in North Carolina. He got his typewriter and he wrote this piece called The Haunted Oak. It is from the tree's perspective. Pray, why are you so so bare, so bare. Oh, bough of the old oak tree. And why would I go through the shade you throw once a shudder over me? My leaves were green as the best I tried, and sap ran free in my veins. But I heard in the moonlight dim and weird a guiltless victim's pains. I bid me down to hear his sigh. I shook with his gurgling moan, and I trembled sore when they rode away and left me here alone. They charged him with the old crime and set him fast in jail. Oh, why does the dog all night long, and why does the night wind wail? He prayed his prayer, Bismillah Rahman, and he swore his oath, and he raised his hand to the sky. I didn't do it, but the beat of hooves smote on his ear, and the steady tread drew nigh. Who is it rides by night, over the moonlit road? And what is the spur that keeps the pace? What is the galling goad? Now they have reached the prison door. Oh, keeper, do not stay. We are friends of him whom you hold within, and we fain would take him away from those who ride hard and fast on our heels with a mind to do him wrong. They have no care for his innocence, and the rope they bear is long. They have fooled the jailer with lying words. They have fooled the man with lies. The bolts unbar, the locks are drawn, and the great door open flies. Now, they have taken him from the jail, and hard and fast they ride. And the leader laughs deep down in his throat as they halt my trunk beside. Oh, the judge, he wore a mask of black, and the doctor one of white, and the minister with his eldest son was curiously bedight. Oh, foolish man, why weep you now? 'Tis but a little space, and the time shall come when these shall dread the memory of your face. I feel the rope upon my bark, and the weight of him in my grain. I feel the throe of his final woe, the touch of my own last pain. And never more shall leaves come forth on a bough that bears the ban. I am burned with dread. I am dried and dead from the curse of a guiltless man. And evermore the judge rides by, and goes and hunts the deer. And ever another rides his soul in the guise of a mortal fear. And ever the man he rides me hard, and never a night stays he. For I feel his curse as a haunted bough on the trunk of a haunted tree.
Southern trees bear strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the root, black bodies swinging in the southern breeze, strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees.
justice, enthroned upon the mighty truth. Within the confines of the laws, true justice sees not the man, but only hears his cause. Unconscious of his creed or race, she cannot see, but only weighs. For justice with unbandaged eyes would be oppression in disguise. Paul Laurence Dunbar was invited by Frederick Douglass to speak at the Columbian Exposition. He wanted him to come and read an ode to Ethiopia. Prior to that, Paul Dunbar was invited by a good friend, Mr. Thatcher, in Toledo, Ohio, to stop on his way from a reading in Detroit to give them some selections with his group called the West End Club. They met on a Wednesday evening. Paul Dunbar accepted it. And when he got there was a gentleman by the name of W.C. Chapman who had just went to the South, and he was doing a paper on the Negro in the South. Well, he did not know Paul Dunbar was to be there, nor did he know that he was in the audience. And he got up and he spoke about the Negroes as being lazy and shiftless, and no counting will never amount to anything, except for Paul Laurence Dunbar. He was the exception. When Mr. Thatcher introduced Paul Laurence Dunbar, he rose and went to the podium and he said, "I shall give you one poem I had not intended. It is entitled, An Ode to Ethiopia. O Mother Race, to thee I bring this pledge of faith unwavering, this tribute to thy glory. I know the pangs which thou didst feel, when slavery crushed thee with its heel, with thy dear blood all gory. Sad days were those, sad indeed, but through the land the fruitful seed of better times was growing. The plant of freedom upward sprung and spread its leaves so fresh and young, its blossoms now are blooming. On every hand in this fair land, proud Ethiop's swarthy children stand beside their fairer neighbor. The forests flee before their stroke, their hammers ring, their forges smoke, they stir in honest labor. They tread the fields where honor calls, their voices sound through senate halls in majesty and power. To right they cling, the hymns they sing up to the skies in beauty ring, and bolder grow each hour. Be proud, my race, in mind and soul. Thy name is writ on glory scroll in characters of fire. High amid the clouds of fame's bright sky, thy banners blazing foes now fly, and truth shall lift them higher. Thou had the right to noble pride, whose spotless robes were purified by blood severe baptism. Upon thy brow the cross was laid, and labor's painful sweat beads made a consecrating chrism. No other race, or white or black, when bound as thou were to the rack, so seldom stooped to greeting. No other race, when free again, forgot the past and proved them men so noble in forgiving. Go on and up, our souls and our eyes shall follow thy continuous rise. Thy ears shall list thy story, from bar to from thy root shall spring, and proudly tune their lyres to sing of Ethiopia's glory. Paul Dunbar was the only African American in the building that night in Toledo, Ohio. He could have very well been lynched. He could have very well been beaten. But he decided to defend his folks. Courage is what it takes. We wear the mask that grins and lies. It hides our cheeks and shades our eyes. This debt we pay to human guile. With torn and bleeding hearts, we smile, and mouth with myriad subtleties. Why should the world be overwise in counting all our tears and sighs? Nay, let them only see us while we wear the mask. We smile, but oh, great Christ, our cries to thee from tortured souls arise. We sing, lift every voice and sing, but oh, the clay is vile beneath our feet and long smile. But let the world dream otherwise. We wear the mask. Melinda, she fell deep in love with this here boy she knew, and it was quite the proper thing, cause well, he was in love with her too. She hastened home and told her pa that surely she would wed one likely Rufus Brown, when Pa looked up and said, no, honey, child, you can't do that. You'll have to find another. Don't tell your ma, but Rufus Brown is surely your half brother. Melinda shed a few soft tears, then slowly went her way. But soon she met another boy and hastened home to say, now, Pop, I'm gonna marry that Smith boy down the street. He ain't got no bad habits and he sure can't dress up neat. But Pop, he slowly shook his head, then looked across his mother and whispered, no, child, you can't do that. That Smith boy am your half-brother. Melinda, she forgot her home, then blurted out her mother, Pop say I can't marry Rufus Brown cause he be my half-brother. And when I turned to 35th, although it seemed like treason, but Pop say I can't marry him on account of this same reason. Her mama said, nah, honey, child, don't you cry. Put on your wedding cap, marry any one of them boys you like. You ain't no kin to Pat. That's called kinfolk. One of my favorite poems of Paul Dunbar's. I'm a method of it. One of my favorite poems of Paul Laurence Dunbar is called The Party. They had a great big party over Tom's the other night. Was I there? Child, you bet. I never in my sight seen such a sight. All the folk from Folk Plantation was invited, and they come trooping thick as chillin' when they hears a fifing drum. Everybody dressed their finest. Hush your mouth and get away. I ain't seen no such fancy dressing since last quarterly meeting day. Girls all dressed in silks and satins, ne'er a wrinkle, ne'er a crease. Eyes a battin', teeth a shining, hair brushed back and slick with grease. Skirts all tucked and puffed and ruffled, ever blessed seeming stitch. If you seen them with their missus, couldn't swear to which was which. Men dressed up in Prince Alberts, swallowtails that took your breath. I can't tell y'all nothing about it, y'all to see it for yourself. Who was there? Now who you asking? How you expect eyes going to know? You must think I stood and counted everybody at the door. Old man Barber's houseboy Isaac brung that gal Melinda Jane, her swinging to his elbow, him a strutting with a cane. My, but Harvey Jones was jealous, seemed to stick him like a thorn, but he laughed when finally caught her, trying hard to not let on. But a person would have noticed from the direction of his look that he was watching every step that Ike and Lindy took. Ike, he found a chair and asked her, won't you sit down with a smile? And she reckoned up and bowed. And she answered up, oh, I reckon. Well, I reckon not. Well, I guess that's just for style, I reckon, because she sat down just the same, and she stayed there till he fetched her for to join some sort of game. And I heard her saying proper as she raised to go away, "Oh, you really must excuse me, for I hardly cares to play." But I'll see her in a minute with the others on the floor, and they won't near one of them playing anymore. Coming down the floor, bowing and a swaying and a swinging, putting on her tie-tone manners all the time that she was singing. Oh, swing Johnny up and down, swinging all around. Oh, swing Johnny up and down, swing him all around. Oh, swing Johnny up and down, swing him all around. Fare thee well, my darling. That was better than young Scott Thomas. Trying to be so awful smart. You know when it gets to singing and they come to that part, in some lady's new brick house, in some lady's garden, if you don't let me out, I'll bust out. So fare thee well, my darling. Then they get some circle around you, and he's got to bust the line. Well, that young man was so anxious, like to bust himself a trying. Kept on blundering around and fooling, till they give one great big jump, broke the line, and lit head from us in the fireplace right front. Oh, it had fire in it, mind you. Well, I thought my soul I'd bust, tried myself to keep from laughing, but it seemed like that I bust. Wish you see that boy scrambling from the ashes and the grind. Did it burn him? Such a question, why he didn't even give it time. Throw them ashes and them cinders ever which way, I guess, and you never in your lifetime clapped your eyes on such a mess. Cause he surely made a picture, and a funny one to boot, with his clothes all full of ashes and his face all full of soot. Well, he liked to stop the party. And I reckon like it's not that he would if Tom's wife Mandy hadn't happened on the spot to invite us out to supper. Well, we scrambled to the table. And I'd like to tell y'all about it, what we had, but I ain't able. Tell you just a few things, though I know I hadn't ought to, because I know 'twill start a hankering in your mouth of Mr. Wall. We had wheat bread, white as cotton, egg pone just like gold, hog jaw, boiling hot and steaming, roasted short ham sliced cold. Look out there. What's wrong with y'all? Don't be falling on the floor. If it going to affect you that way, I won't tell you nothing more. There now. Well, we had hot chitlins. Now again, you trying to fall. Can't you stand to hear about it? Suppose you been and seen it all. See them great big sweet potatoes laying by the possum side. Spied that coon and all his gravy. Break it in, you'd up die. Mandy laughed. You all must excuse me, but there wasn't much upon my shelves. But I've done myself to suit you, so sit down and get yourself. Tom, he laughed. I don't believe in apologizing or professing. Let him take it like the kitchen. Elder Thompson, ask the blessing. Wish you'd see that colored preacher clear his throat and bow his head. One eye shut and one eye open. This is every word he said. Lord, ha! Look down and tender mercy. Ha! On such jealous hearts as these. Ha! Make us truly thankful, amen. Pass that possum, if you please. Well, we ate and drunk our potion till there wasn't nothing left, and we felt just like new sausage. We was most not stuffed to death. Tom knew how we be feeling, so he had the fiddle around, and he made us clear the cabin for the dance that supper died. Jim the fiddler tuned his fiddle, put some rosin on the bowl, set a pine box on the table, mounted her, and let her go. He's a fiddler now, I tell you, and he made that fiddle ring till the oldest and the lamest had to give their feet a flame. Jigs, cotillions, reels and breakdowns, quadrilles and a waltz or two. Oh, that music surely winged them and them people like the flute. Cripple Joe, the old rheumatic, danced that floor from side to middle, throwed away in his kitchen bucket. What's rheumatics against the fiddle? And Elder Thompson got so tickled that he like to lost his grace, had to grab both feet and hold them so as to keep them in their place. And them Christians and them sinners got so mixed up on that floor that I don't see how they parted if the trump had chanced to blow. Well, we danced that way and came in the most ridiculous way. Till the rooster in the barnyard cleared his throat and crowed for day. Yeah, y'all ought to been there. I tell you, everything was rich in pride. But there ain't no use in talking. We just had one scrumptious time. Dunbar had a little poem. He had quite a few poems he wrote about Christmas. This one's called Little Christmas Basket. The wind is howling dagger to the shutters under fire. The snows are saying, got you to the ground. For the winter weather's come without an asking our desire, and he's laughing in his sleeve at what he's found. For there ain't nobody ready with their food or their fuel, and their money bag look timid like for show. So we want our Christmas sermon, but we'd like it if you could leave a little Christmas basket at the door. What's the use of telling children about a Santa or a Nick, or the stories that a body always told, when the hearth is gray with ashes and you hasn't got a stick for to warm them when their little toes is cold? What's the use in preaching religion to a man who was starved to death and are telling him the master will provide? If you want to touch his feelings, save your sermons and your breath. Take a little Christmas basket by your side. Take the time to open Bibles and to lock your cellar door. Take the time to talk of being good to men. If you want to preach a sermon like you never preached before, preach that sermon with a shoat or with a hen. Now being good's a heap sight better than a dallying with sin, and there ain't nobody around that knows it more. But I think that religion's sweeter when it sort of mixes in with that little Christmas basket at the door. Dunbar was asked to be a minister because of his intelligence and his deep voice, but he refused. His nickname was Deacon, but he refused. He wrote a poem called Religion, where he said, I am no priest of crooks or creeds, for human wants and human needs are more to me than prophets' deeds. And human tears and human cares affect me more than human prayers. Go cease your wail, lugubrious saint. You fret high heaven with your plaint. Is this the Christian's boasted bliss? Avails your faith no more than this? Take up your arms, come out with me. Let heaven alone. Humanity needs more, and heaven less of thee. With pity for mankind, look round. Help them to rise, and heaven is found. Then he wrote theology. There is a heaven, forever day by day, the upward longing of my soul doth tell me so. There is a hell, I'm quite as sure, for pray, if there were not, where would my neighbor go? Lord, he had a job for me, but I had so much to do. I said, Lord, could you get somebody else to wait till I get through? I don't know how the Lord come out, but he seemed to get along, but I felt sort of sneaking like, no, I've done God wrong. One day I needed the Lord, needed him right away, but he never answered me at all. I could hear him say down in my accusing heart, brother, I've got too much to do. You get somebody else, wait till I get through. Now when the Lord, he has a job for me, I doesn't try and shirk. I drops whatever I has on hand and does the good Lord's work. And my affairs can run along and wait till I get through. Nobody else could do the work, but God's marked down for you, you, and you. Paul Laurence Dunbar did the work that was marked down for him. He became a proficient writer, the poet laureate. But at the same time, even to this day, people don't know who he was or anything about it. There's schools named after him. And sometimes I go and the principal at the school doesn't even know who Paul Dunbar is. He wrote a poem called A Career, where he said, break me my bounds and let me fly to regions vast of boundless sky. Nor I, like piteous Daphne, be root-bound. Ah, no, I would be free as yon same bird that in its flight outstrips the range of mortal sight. 3 as the mountains, streams that gush from bubbling springs and downward rush across the serried mountainside. Their rocks overwhelm, the banks defy, and like the passion in the soul, swells into torrents as they roll. Oh, circumscribe me not by rules that serve to lead the minds of fools, but give me power to work my will, and at my deeds the world shall thrill. My words shall rouse the slumbering zest that hardly stirs in manhood's breast. And as the sun feeds lesser light, as planets have their satellites, so round about me shall I bind the men who prize a mastermind. He lived a silent life alone and laid him down when it was done. And at his head was placed a stone on which was carved the name Unknown. A career. As Paul Dunbar was realizing he was at his end after having traveled to Colorado, the Catskills, after getting tuberculosis from working in the Library of Congress basement with all the dust. He wrote this piece called The Death Song, where he said, "Lay me down neath the willows in the grass, where the branch would go singing as it passed. And when eyes are laying low, I could hear it as it goes, singing, sweet, sleep, my honey, take your rest at last. Lay me now to where it makes a little pool, where the water stands so quiet and cool, where the little birds in spring used to come and drink and sing, and the children waiting on their way to school. Let me settle where my shoulders drop stay low, nigh enough to hear the noises in the road. For I think the last long rest's gonna soothe my spirit best if I'm laying amongst the things I always know." Paul Dunbar is buried in the Woodlawn Cemetery in Dayton, Ohio, not far from the Wright brothers under a rock. He wrote a poem called To a Dead Friend that very much could have well been written for himself, that said, "It is as if a silver chord were suddenly grown mute, and life songs with its rhythms warred against the silver lute. It is as if a silence fell where bides the garnered chief, and voices murmuring, 'It is well,' are stifled by our grief. It is as if the gloom of night had hid a summer's day, and willows sighing at their plight bent low beside the way. For he was part of all the best that nature loves and gives, and evermore on memory's breast he lies, and laughs, and lives." When Dunbar was working in the Library of Congress in the basement, and the grates reminded him of a cage, he penned this poem. This poem, or a line of this poem, was made famous later by Dr. Maya Angelou when she wrote her autobiography. She took a line from this poem. "I know what the caged bird feels, alas. When the sun is high on the upland slope, and the wind stirs soft the sweeping grass, and the river flows like a stream of glass. When the first bird sings and the first bud opes, and its faint perfume from its chalice steals, I know what the caged bird feels. I know why the caged bird beats its wing till its blood is red on the cruel bars. For it must fly back to its perch and cling when fain would be on the bough a swing. And the pain still throbs in the old scars, and they pulse again with a keener sting. I know why he beats its wing. I know why the caged bird sings. Oh me, when its wing is bruised and its bosom sore, and it beats its bars and it would be free. It's not a carol of joy or glee, but a prayer that it sends from its heart's deep core, but a plea that upward to heaven it flees. I know why the caged bird sings. Paul Lawrence Dunbar passed away on February the 9th, 1906, at the young age of 33. With his mother reciting the 23rd Psalm at his bedside. Paul Lawrence Dunbar wrote his first poem at 7 years old. He worked in the graduated high school, tops in his class. He was head of the Philadelphia Society. He was editor of the school newspaper. He wrote the school song. After graduating, his first book of poetry was called Oak and Ivy. And he thought he was going to be successful, but still, he ended up working as an elevator operator, an elevator boy, they called him, in the Callahan building in Dayton, Ohio, making $4 a week. In the end, Paul Dunbar published over 600 poems, 12 books of poetry, 5 novels, 4 volumes of short stories, dozens of essays, hundreds of newspaper articles, and lyrics to the first full-length musical written and played by African Americans that was performed at a major Broadway theater. Again, all in his 33 years of life. Paul Dunbar was friends with a lot of folks, and I stand here today to let you know that he was good friends with Booker T. Washington, who was instrumental in getting this Rosenwald School here. He was invited by Booker T. Washington to Tuskegee. And he jokingly asked Dunbar if he would write something for a speech for the next morning, and Dunbar stayed up all night and wrote a poem. And he was very pleased with that. He also wrote the Tuskegee School song. As I close, Dunbar always loved to inspire. He wrote this little poem called The Seedling, where he said, as a quiet little seedling lay within its darksome bed, to itself it fell a-talking, and this is what it said. I am not so very robust, but I'll do the best I can. And that seedling, from that moment, its work of life began. So it pushed a little leaflet up into the light of day to examine the surroundings and show the rest the way. The leaflet liked the prospect, so it called its brother, Stem! And 2 other leaflets heard it and quickly followed them. To be sure, the haste and hurry made the little seedling pant, but almost before it knew it, it found itself a plant. The sunshine poured upon it, and the clouds, they gave a shower, and that little plant kept growing till it found itself a flower. Folks, be like the little seedling. Always do the best you can. Everyone must share life's labors, be you child, woman, or man. And the sun and rain will help you through life's lonesome struggling hours to raise to light and beauty, virtue's fair, unfading flowers. Last but not least, he wrote The Sparrow, where he said, a little bird with plumage brown beside my window flutters down. A moment chirps its little strain, then taps upon my window pane and chirps again and hops along to call my notice to its song. But I work on nor heed its lay, till in neglect it flies away. So birds of peace and hope and love come fluttering earthward from above to settle on life's windowsills, to ease our load of earthly ills. But we in traffic's rushing den, too deep engaged to let them in. With deadened heart and beat plod on, nor know our loss till they are gone.
Wow. What an amazing presentation. Let's give Mitch Capel another hand. That was poignant, that was moving, and sometimes it was funny. Very eye-opening, and the fact that he could recite all of that and stay in character the entire time is just phenomenal. We're so thankful to Mitch for your presentation today, and so thankful for your support of the Southern Pines Land and Housing Trust. We love you, Mitch.
I've been here a long time, we've been here a while. We mentioned earlier that there might be Q&A. I know you might be tired, it's been a long day. But if anybody has any questions they want to ask, any concerns, something you didn't like or did like, I don't care what you like. If it moved you some kind of way, then that's good. No questions, anybody? Yes?
I didn't have a question, more of something to say. When I was younger, you went to my middle school and told me some stories as Granddaddy Junebug, and I just wanted to say I appreciate the stories you've told. They've truly moved me and also inspired me to write my own stories. So thank you.
Thank you. That's why I do this, so that it changes lives, make influence on your world. Here's something behind it. Okay. Thank you very much, y'all. Love you. Peace.
Before you go out in the lobby, Mitchell actually has some CDs and some different works. If you would like to support him, you're able to do so. He has also very generously given us some books that we will actually raffle off. So before you leave, see the folks out there in the lobby. We will raffle off the books this week. So if you win, we'll get in contact with you to let you know if you've won. Also want to thank everyone for coming. Want to thank you for being a part, sharing a part of your Sunday evening with us. I want to give another shout out to our event director, Elise Terry. She has just done an amazing job. Amazing job. So thank you and have a good evening.